different accounts tonight emerging about what happened the night Botham Jean died. An arrest affidavit released today shows us the account from the Dallas police officer who pulled the trigger. But victim Botham Jean's attorney says that the family doesn't believe that account. CBS 11's Andrea Lucia continues our coverage. She's over at police headquarters in Dallas to sort out as best we can tonight with this new information. Andrea?
Well, that arrest affidavit shows us that investigators are using Officer Geiger's own account of what happened Thursday night to justify her arrest for manslaughter. But the attorneys representing Botham Jean's family say it shows her in the most positive light possible.
When the Dallas Police Department...
Angry voices outside Dallas police headquarters demanded justice for Botham Jean. But 4 days after his shooting, there's still confusion over what exactly happened. According to a newly released affidavit from the Texas Rangers, Officer Amber Geiger had just ended her shift, parked on the 4th floor of the parking garage, and walked down the hall to what she thought was her apartment. An investigator wrote the door was slightly ajar and fully opened under the force of the key to a nearly completely dark apartment. That's when Geiger claims she saw a large silhouette across the room, drew her firearm, gave verbal commands that were ignored by Jean, and fired her handgun. It wasn't until she was on the phone with 911 she claimed she turned on the lights and realized her mistake.
We don't know what actually happened. We just know that this story doesn't hold up.
Attorneys for Jean's family say 2 witnesses have provided details contradicting Geiger's account.
They heard knocking down the hallway, followed by a woman's voice that they believe to be Officer Geiger saying, "Let me in, let me in." The
witnesses, according to the family's attorneys, then heard gunshots, followed by a man's voice.
What we believe to be the last words of Botham Jean, which was, "Oh my God, why did you do that?"
And the idea that Jean left his door open is, they say, one his family can't accept.
Everything we know about this young man, this accountant, this meticulous person, is that he would have locked his door.
Well, in an effort to learn as much as we can, we have reached out to the officer's family as well as colleagues here at the Dallas Police Department, but for one reason or another, they've either not responded or been unable to grant us an interview. Doug.
Andrea, before we let you go, let's talk about a couple of things that you learned from our sources. First of all, talk about this bright red mat. I've seen it all over social media that's outside Jean's door that a lot of people believe Officer Geiger should have noticed and should have been her first clue. Some feel that, hey, this is not your apartment.
Yeah, there was nothing mentioned in the arrest affidavit about that, but our sources did tell us that Geiger talked to investigators about the fact that she was carrying a lot of bags home from work and that those bags she had in her hand interfered somehow with either her ability to see or really notice the mat as she walked up to the door. That's what we're hearing about that.
Okay, and what are your sources telling you specifically about what they saw inside that apartment that night?
Well, we've heard from sources that when first responders arrived, they did find Jean across the room from the entryway, as is described in Geiger's account of what happened. They say he was wearing boxers and he was wearing, sort of an undershirt, and he was close to the couch. They say that it did appear that as if the lights had been off and that the only light that was on was coming from the television. So the perception that some people had was that he was perhaps on the couch, either very relaxed, as one would be at night, or possibly even asleep when the door opened, and he may have jumped up and startled her. So that, at least, is the perception that that sources have heard from first responders.
Okay, inside sources and the trickle of information, but the picture slowly comes into focus, but a long way to go. Andrea, thank you so much. Jean's alma mater, by the way, held a touching candlelight vigil tonight in his name and in his honor. And singing was a very big part of tonight's event at Harding University. This is in Arkansas because Jean loved to sing, and you may have seen that in recent tweets or Facebook posts. There were also tears tonight. There were lots of hugs as well. Jean was a 2016 graduate of the university and was very involved, we're told, in several groups at the university, including the Men's Social Club, also the Rock House Campus Ministry. The funeral for Botham Jean is scheduled now for this coming Thursday. It is at the church where he spent a lot of his time, Dallas West Church of Christ, located in West Dallas.